is filled with so many beautiful people, such a joy. So many reports of heartache have gone on in our world this week. Most of them here in our own U.S. The snowstorms in the eastern part of our country, then the devastating fires in California that could not be contained. More than 10,000 homes, schools, churches, and businesses have been destroyed in less than a week. And the final funeral service of President Carter and the beautiful things that were said about his life. Then even the cold, icy weather in our area, a few days of changing our way of life. But by next week, the sun will shine again, and all this will be old news. And another event will fill our media, and we'll be off on another activity. This reminds us again that life does go on. Good things happen in our life, and bad things happen. How we cope with them defines how we live our days. In life, we do the things that we really want to do. You know, I really and truly believe that. We make excuses, we do things, but really when it comes down to it, we do what we really want to do. We can convince ourselves that eating half of a pumpkin pie is healthy because pumpkin is a vegetable. Well, in our busy modern world, God asks above all that we be faithful, to let our lives show the fruits of the Spirit. When we belong to Jesus, our lives are different. Galatians 5:22 is a very precious verse to me. And the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. How many of these fruits can we share with others to enrich their lives? We only have these fruits when we let Jesus strengthen our lives and then share it with others. When we let Jesus into our lives, he loves us into where he wants us to be and to serve him. To praise him with our activities each day. At different times in our lives, we find our path filled with challenges. We can only survive if we put our trust in the Lord. How many of you in the last month or two have read anything out of the book of Ecclesiastes? Not many times do pastors pick up this book of the Bible and preach a sermon on it, but it is filled with wise sayings from King Solomon. King Solomon, who asked God for wisdom. In chapter 3, it is so filled with these words of wisdom. So I challenge you to take some time and read these beautiful thoughts. In verse 1, it says, there is a time for everything. Everything that happens in this world happens at the time God chooses. He sets a time for birth and a time for death. A time for planting and a time for pulling up. Time for killing and a time for healing. A time for tearing down and a time for building up. God sets a time for sorrow and a time for joy. A time for mourning and a time for dancing. Above all, he sets a time for love. God says, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the earth. Here today and gone tomorrow. Only God knows how much time we have to live our lives. So don't be in a hurry to get to heaven. Enjoy the trip along the way, and you will be blessed.
Yay!